Good morning, again from Guam, and I have set up my camera and living room differently, so you see another angle of my home. And today I'm going to play with three different kinds of objects, or I don't know, I call them belts, but that's probably because of yoga belts. But I have one of these. It's more of an exercise-oriented piece of equipment. It's got a few holes in it since my cat Gandalf likes to chew on it and play on it. The second thing I'll be just showing you what I use a bit is one of my yoga belts. These are the thinner straps from Hugger Mugger, and I like these thinner straps, plus they've got some length to them. And I use them a lot for yoga, but today is going to be play day. And then I have these most beautiful new Octaband Links that Donna Newman Bluestein has created from her Octaband products. And I'm going to play with those as well. So I think about one of the most fun I have with props is playing with props that have one use, but then coming up with other uses and using your creativity. So I like to teach playing with props with everyday objects and then exploring specific props that were created in my work as a therapist, which also work in creative movement and dance activities. But the first thing I'll talk about a little bit and move with a bit is whatever this is called, some exercise thing. Now, the reason that I bought this is because I got inspired while I was on the Sunshine Coast of Australia at Tracy Nicholson's studio, where she did a water class, and she had a ballet bar in the pool. And at the end, she had us just do whatever we wanted to. And I put the strap through, and I started literally bungee jumping, dancing off the side of the wall. So I invested in one of these, and actually when I broke my wrist, which by the way, good news yesterday is that the break has healed. I still don't have full range, but at least the break has healed. So you're the first to hear about this. So when I had the plaster on, I was playing with movements like this to see how much range I could get, to see if I could do this. Because in the beginning, I could barely do that with that arm. And I see there's a slight glare. I might have shift the screen over, probably fall down. I'll do that. But anyway, we'll see if that helps a little bit with the glare. So, there's a lot you can do with this. And of course, there's a little bit of an edge on my couch here where in the pool, see, I can just, bungee off of it. So that's what's fun. So this has a resistance function, and this also has an exercise function. And so people use it, for that purpose. So, these are pretty cheap and readily available. So if you want to have a play with it, you can. I often like to, put a foot in one and play around like that, because I like to get into those three-dimensional joints in my hips, in my shoulder, and I like to move that around. So this is just something that it actually has handles, doesn't feel as comfortable on the foot, but hey, so you can play around with this because this has the bunginess of it. And if you really want to play with, you know, having more resistance in your movement, then this is one way to go. Hi, Claire. So this is whatever, I'll just call it a bungee for now, but your exercise stretch thing is, there's plenty you can do with this, you know, whatever works for you, you can have play with it. And like I said, if you strap it around like I do in the swimming pool, basically in the swimming pool, I jump off like this from the side, and then I can do double flips. And at the same time, I'm rotating my shoulders, and I'm also enjoying the flipping. So as you can see, I'm just kind of slowly warming up with this. If you have a towel, if you have anything with any kind of length or cord, I mean, there's so much you can use. A rope, you can just start to play with that. So as you can see, this has resistance. So if I'm trying to work a little bit muscularly, I might use this. But right now, as I said, see it does that too, like a rubber band. And when you're working with kids having rubber bands, well, it's not such a great idea, I bet. So anyway, so that's a little bit about this and a little bit about how I use it. So how I've been using it is with my wrist and, you know, trying to see how much movement I could get in this arm, even when I had the plaster on. And then in the swimming pool, my little bungee jumping fun that I do at the very end of my laps. Now, the second thing is a yoga strap, which is much more, it has, you know, less of that resistance, but it has much more stability. So in my experience of yoga, of course, we've used it for things like, you know, Supta Padangusthasana, you know, one leg pose. Now there's a really nice way to use it, just putting it behind your head, lifting your head up, and you can just play around with the stretches. So I like to use it like that. That came from I think it was a yin class I did where a teacher did this once, and I thought, what a good idea. So at the same time, I could take the strap under my shoulder and do my legs out to the side as well, if I don't want to be using my arms. So the belt has a particular, you know, stability about it. I also like to use it. I'll probably have to adjust it. So you'll need extra long straps if you like to do things that use the whole body. So here I can play with boat pose and work on the evenness of me. So these are what come up in my practice when I'm using the belt, and of course I use it in shoulder step. So it's more about my yoga practice. But another nice thing about the belt is, and I won't take too much time here with the demonstration, but if you have a doorway, you can put it in your doorway between the handles and do downward facing dog, and the strap can hold your legs. Of course, this isn't the ideal demonstration, but the yoga strap has a lot more specific uses in yoga. But at the same time, I could take a yoga strap and just start to move with it. And so there's a stability that it offers that's different than the bungee jumping thing. So I might start to, and I might want to make it a little tighter. So I might play with it to open up my shoulders, to explore the space around me. And of course, it's great to get the leg going. But again, past yoga use, there's many ways to play with the bungee, yoga belt, and open things in the body. You can see I need a little bit of stretching after my swim this morning. So in a way, this gives you a more sort of sustained spatial pattern where if you're just reaching out into this, it doesn't have the same give as the other bungee does. And so this has some firmness and stability. And one of the beauties about this, and I'll just quickly show it to you, if you spend long hours at the computer, and I learned this through probably from Rosie from down in Nelson, a Naeem teacher, is that we learn to take it, bring it around our back, bring it up over the shoulders, then we cross it over, and then we strap it here. And then you have a little reminder. This is a bit messy, but I'm just trying to quickly show you. Something that reminds you to keep this part of the body open. You're sitting at the computer, and you have a tendency to roll forward. This just reminds, it's a little postural thing. So it's another great use, and I have yoga students who I use this with for that. Now, there's plenty more you can do with the yoga strap. That's just a little introduction or a little about my experience. Now this is what I'm really excited, and I'm on vibes now, is to play with these beautiful new Octaband Links that Donna Newman-Bluestein has come out with. Now these have a more gentle stretch than the first prop. They also have quite a beauty to them, quite an aesthetic to them. So, you know, I like the feel of this on my body, on my skin. There's a nice feel of the lycra. And so when I was at the conference, I was just doing a bit of play, like putting it on one foot and one hand. So this is exploring, you know, half of the body. So I'm sort of stabilizing my left half and exploring my right half, and, you know, just seeing where that takes me. And yes, it can take me into a turn. And just to be a bit even, I'm going to put it on the other foot and the other hand and just move that side of the body. So you can really play with the body half here. So there's a lot of interesting movement. Now, what if I alternate foot and leg and I start playing with that diagonal movement or more the cross-lateral movement? I can certainly play with that. And that's what I was really liking. I was liking, you know, coming up into little balances with it. So it doesn't have the same, you know, quality that this does, where it's going to hit me if I let go of it. This, if I let go of it, is not going to be nearly as dangerous. So what if I, which is all an experiment, playing with props is all an experiment, and those of you who know me well know that I love to play with props, but I also don't need props in my movement either. But for many years I've explored both dance therapy props and yoga props. So what if I were to put on two, and I have them in this cross lateral business of, you know, opposite legs and arms? So, you know, certainly that's one way to do it. And then if I switch over to the body half again, so I've got one on the right side and one on the left, and these are so lovely and beautiful, and I'm so happy to have them. So I can start playing like this with them. And for me, I like to Try levels. And of course, anytime you're working with, especially kids, you don't want to be encouraged wrapping around the neck, but you certainly can wrap around other parts of the body. And you start to feel some resistance as you move through it. And there's already, compared to my little bungee, I'm liking that this has some resistance, but at the same time, it has some ease in it. So I feel like using the Octalinks, I can have a lot more flow. And I'm still, I'm starting to breathe heavier. I'm getting a bit of a workout. So, hello, Edna. So I'm just still doing the body half. Now, what if I did something as wacky as put one on the feet and then one on the hands? So again, perhaps if you were working on planes, I could say now I'm in my vertical plane, or now I'm going to really move in my horizontal plane, or maybe I'm going to go into my sagittal plane. So you can play with this, perhaps trying to make as big of steps as possible when you have it on your feet. And like then you can change levels. You go to the ground and just play with the feet aspect and maybe rolling around with it and seeing what kind of movement you can come. Because I'm also, those of you who know me, I'm a floor person, like to sit on the floor, like to roll on the floor, like to move on the floor. It's always been one of my delights. And what I'm trying to encourage for all of you is, finding movement ideas that delight you, that you want to play with. And so inspiring you to find things in your own environment. So I continually become inspired, and certainly playing with this with Donna, when she was selling these at the conference, was a lot of fun. So there's many ways to support different body parts here. So I can support, if I want to. And so this works with people who have some mobility issues. Like I could work on this. I could see where if I'd had these Octalinks in a group I used to do in New Plymouth, where many people had sustained a traumatic brain injury, that they could use something like this. Like maybe they had a problem with the leg, and so they could take this, and they could put it on the foot, and, use the two hands to lift it. So this would have been a fun thing to do. Plus, we could have done it together as well. And the Octaband works beautifully as a group activity. And I'm heading to New Zealand, oh gosh, how many hours? About 2:30 in the morning this time. And maybe next week, when I'm with my colleague and friend, Ann Hurst, we can have a play with these together. Like how can we, as a dyad, use these links to connect and to move? Because props are really about inspiring creativity. They're about helping us connect to others, helping us to connect to our own body, and really extending our movement possibilities. So that's one of the things I like about it is, no matter, how often I'm playing with movement, and I have a lot of familiar movement patterns, there's still discovery. There's always discovery. And so allow yourself the richness and the fullness of discovery playing with something like this. So you can see that right now I'm in love with this prop. And Donna sells these. You can like her Dance for Connection page. You can also look up Octaband and the website. And so even, not using them like that, we can, use them as a nice way to give touch. Sometimes we work with clients who have a real difficulty with touch. And if we can encourage them some self-touch, some self-regulation, and I mean, this is only one quality of touch in terms of the feel of this, but it feels nicer than this on my skin, or even the yoga belt. The yoga strap feels good on the skin as a sort of secure unit, something that I can, really lean my body into, so it feels supportive. This is a more fluid kind of feeling, but, you can even wrap it around your head and use it as a headband. Have a little scarf action. But anyway, scarves will be another theme some other time. So you can see there are endless possibilities with this prop. I mean, I've hardly even touched the surface. I mean, even going down on the floor and taking, one hand and one foot, I could do that as well. And so no matter what your movement limitations and, if you've been dealing with injuries, find a space that's comfortable for you. And then just slowly start to explore the prop. Props also give us certain dynamics we can play with. So, like I can really wrap it around, really press into it, which I need for my wrist. So I should put one of these in my movement toy bags on my trip to Auckland tonight. So I can keep doing as much as I can to open this wrist since the fracture is healed, but the wrist is still struggling to get full range. Still can't do handstands. But I can do forearm balances and I can do headstand. So you could have a kid put themselves in, several of these and then see what kind of shapes you can create. So like I can add another one and put it up. So there I can get myself really tied up. But just feeling that resistance gives me some impetus for movement. And aren't these pretty and fun? So I'm very grateful to Donna for finding this new prop. And so I really encourage you to find your creativity to explore with, you can probably find something similar. Maybe you just take a scarf and tie, one end and then the other. Or you have some old lycra you can put together like this. Cut up your old tights. One of my colleagues in New Zealand, she said one of her old ladies found a pair of old stockings and she uses that for her little resistance movement because something like this is too strong for her. So there's so much out there, and you can go into, obviously exercise, but I like to have fun. I like to be a lot more creative and then see what it's opened up for you. So if you have a play and then see how it's moved you, and then you come into a quieter space and just notice what's happening in your body. Like my body has an increased heart rate. I feel like my body feels really good now. I've been having a little SI joint issues in the left side here. So since my last live on Friday, I probably went a little wild with Speed Caravan. So we do need to take care of ourselves. And this feels like it's really opened up my body. I feel like my heart's very open. I feel like my chest is open. So just playing around without any specific goal has given me that right now. So when you play around, just notice what it gives you in your body. And of course, you can always give me feedback, props that you would like to see me explore with, have ideas, rooms in the house. So please feel free to message me privately and or just comment on the video. So thank you for joining me today, and please keep playing, and I'll probably bring these back again. So many blessings for a beautiful day, beautiful evening, beautiful sleep, wherever you are at right now. And I'll send greetings from New Zealand when I get to New Zealand. So have a beautiful day or night.